Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our YouTube channel. We are live. My name is Scott Mendenhall. My hair is soaking wet. It's 5 degrees outside, but we're not here to complain and point out my hair. I'm not alone. I'm always visited by friendly ghosts. We got my friend Lily over there.
Friendly ghost. Wow.
I felt like it was
Hi,
Christmassy.
everyone. So excited you joined us today. If you are in the chat, welcome. It's good to see your names. Also, Merry Christmas. We're almost there.
Nice
about
scrunchie. I didn't
7
catch
days.
the scrunchie earlier, Lil. Little
Thank
red.
you. Yes, I just committed to wearing green and red every time you see me on camera from like the beginning of December. So
I've done the same
we
thing.
made it. I got green on.
What's green? Where's the green?
My shoes are green and my belt is green.
Ooh.
So
I don't know if those shoes are,
they're olive drab. So you can decide if you think it's a correct green.
I guess when I look at it in that shot, it is slightly green.
It's green.
It's green. Well done. And then we learned that Lily did not put lipstick on. You dyed your lips today?
No, it's just called a lip stain.
You
That's all.
stained your lips.
We don't need to try to explain that to you. Girls, you know what it is. It's really for us anyways, right?
Well, that could be a debate.
And all the girls are silent.
if it's for you,
No,
but
not for
everyone
you,
else
we
is
just,
looking at it, I would venture to say that it actually is for everyone that's looking
It's
at
really
you.
just more fun for us to get dressed up
Yeah.
and to,
I just didn't
so,
know you could
yeah.
stain.
It's just what it's called.
I was just wanting to educate everybody out there. Okay.
It will be stained all day.
Lily doesn't like when we draw attention to her lips. That's what she told me the other day. Okay, we're stoked to have everybody in the chat today. We're going to give you a chance to fire away your questions. You're going to be able to put them in the chat, and we will answer them best that we can. If we don't know the answer, we'll make it up or tell you we don't know. And you'll have to decide if we made up the answer or if we really knew the answer and we just didn't want to answer it, so we said, I do not know. It's pretty cool. We switched some angles up here. There's a full shot of Lily and I, so that when we really get into the bantering, we can look at each other.
Here we are.
And have a good conversation. Lil, do you
Yes.
have all of your Christmas shopping done?
Yes.
All of it?
I do. I have my roommate's birthday is on December 29th.
What?
That's the only gift I have yet to get.
But that's not really Christmassy.
Yes, but no, it's not a Christmas gift. So yeah, my Christmas shopping's done. Not all of the Christmas gifts have arrived, however.
Oof.
So
Are they that's some of the issue? I was ordering some of the Christmas gifts that I need to give to people, or I want to. I don't have to. I want to. A lot of them might not get here, and it might be a wrapped note says, I owe you.
yeah, that's okay. I mean,
It is? I
well,
feel like that's not.
It's not ideal, obviously, but the gift's still coming.
It
So,
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is your Christmas shopping done?
I'm one of those guys. I forget who wrote it in the chat on the other our one wheel video today. I forgot, or I agree with them. Like, I'm done, but I just keep thinking of, this would be a great idea. Oh man, why didn't I? And I just keep ordering it, which is just, it's an ism, but it's cool as well. But nonetheless.
So I do have a question about the questions. Can they type those in at any time throughout the morning? Can they start doing that now? How do we want to do that?
I guess when we say we're gonna do it, they should type it in there. Dan, thank you for that comment. It looks like Scott is channeling his inner Tiger King, I think is what he said.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Tim Bailey says, "Gotta love Pastor Scott's tiger outfit." I'm sad I missed the memo. I would have dressed up like Carol Baskin.
I
It
was
would just been
feeling
a whole
more
thing.
camouflage than.
Hey, I really like that Sherpa. It's sick.
But I thought it was more camouflage than.
It's like
tiger.
a camo Sherpa, but apparently
It
through
must
the
come off
screen,
online.
You're roaring.
Hey, here's the deal. In light of this, it's warm, and I just feel like I'm being hugged. Really, that's.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous.
But then I was like, "Where's my red and green?" Hey, can we go back to the full shot really quick of me? Really quick. Look at my feet. Look, that's how I did it.
Yeah, you did it. You did
Red and green shoes.
You did the dang thing.
I did.
like it.
All right. So, hey, don't be hating my style, Like, if I had a collar, I'd pop it. Okay, so we're going to give you a chance to ask any question and point. Like, some of you could ask, why are you wearing red and green shoes? And I would say, it's Christmas. You should be wearing red and green, like Lily was saying. I mean, girl went all out. She stained her lips. Could you stain your bottom lip? Like, this is a real question. If it's stained, could you stain your bottom lip green and then it would be stained so they're not going to rub on each other?
Yeah. We
That
could
would
have done that. Yeah.
that
The
would have been
possibilities are
awesome.
truly endless these days.
I
mean,
think
we have a
on
lot we can do these days.
I think you should. Do you have that?
I don't have green. No. I'm actually surprised I even have red. So
Okay. All right. So on Christmas morning, which is a week from yesterday, so 6 days away, we have a pretty fun video that we love to release on my channel. It's about one wheeling, but we always have a point, and we're pointing to some truth that we would be able to reach people with a message of hope and things of that, and we use Christmas and Easter to do that on my channel. And so we have a sneak peek of it for you here. This is like 45
Yay.
seconds of just shenanigans. Hopefully you'll join us at 1 o'clock on Christmas afternoon Central Time. And so here is just a little bit of taste, a sampling, a little taste. Make you come back for more. So watch this. I hope this makes you want to watch it on Christmas morning. Enjoy this right here.
Hey, we're stoked about what's happening today. First off, we're going to compete in an epic race all day. First off, we're kicking it off against the X's. Which one is faster, the XR or the Pint X? What else, Joey?
Well, I think it's gonna be, well, I don't know if you do that.
Are you fast?
I don't know, you know, the first race we just did back at the house, Lily is, I think, the speed demon.
I'm a speed demon.
Don't be
Joey, don't. Oh my goodness, this could be.
What?
Wookie, don't pee. Don't pee.
Yeah, he just peed.
Lily.
What?
Here we go. Joey's up. Joey's not up. This is probably not the best way to pack your XRs and pints. But look at that. All for a day's race right there, guys.
They don't say anything on the warning. Do not ride with carrying a one wheel or carrying a Christmas tree.
Lil, how are you feeling?
Feeling good.
You are?
3, 2, 1. That was
baby,
so
let's
bad.
That was bad.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, to ride a one wheel that was wrapped, that was one of my highlights.
was
You'll
a
have to see how
highlight.
we got there for sure. There's so much fun things happening in between, really trying to take a Christmas story that so many people have heard and make it where it relates to people. In the middle of riding one wheels and trying to race, and wait till you see the trophy the winner gets. It's pretty epic. I can't wait for you to see who won our big series. Lily has won a big series.
Yeah, Joey's won.
Joey's won,
You've
and I've
won.
won. So this is the tiebreaker of who has won our epic race series. So,
It's gonna be a good one.
and
It's gonna be fun.
Joey hinted to it that you were a speed demon in the first race of the day.
Yeah, I mean, something has come over me, you guys, and I am just ready to rock it this
Rock
year.
it.
I'm ready to rock it. We already got question number 1, Scott.
Okay, the question from Kayla. Kayla, you're from Florida, I believe, right? Isn't that right?
Originally from, I believe, Washington, and this is how long she's been with us. So we were with her for a whole life move. She moved down to Florida all the way from Washington.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and cool
So
that
cool.
like she slides into our DMs quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we feel like we're getting to know you, Kayla. So she asked which one's my favorite out of all of them. Boy, here's how I'll answer that. I don't necessarily have a favorite. I just have seasons of which one I want to ride the most. And that's just the truth of it. What do I feel like riding today? I have options. And so if I want to be that nimbly rider, I totally go with the Pint. Now the Pint X. The Pint isn't even in the equation for me. Pint X has my most of attention at the moment, especially now that I put a treaded tire on there. But there's something about that XR that's just, it's like going home for Christmas. It's just, there's something about it. Like, it feels really nice to be home with family. And the XR is that for me, just right there for me. But a lot of times it sits there because I forget it. I forget that. I can't wait to see what the GT could trump all of it. We'll find out here in January. I did this. Look, Lily, I looked. Shipping date, January 28th.
All right.
But that doesn't
let's
mean
go.
anything.
That's
All right, how about
exciting.
you, Lily? And then while we're answering these questions, please throw in your questions that you want to ask. And they don't need to be one-wheel related. They can be about life. And if that's the only question we got, then we must do a really good job of answering all life questions every week. So, Lil, how about you?
Oh, Pint X all the way. I love it. I can't wait to get one of my own. It's on just like my future wish list somehow, some way. But it's just, I love the size of the foot pads for my feet and for my comfortability in riding. And I also love its power and punch. So, Pint X, I just decided. I even am assuming, I know, not always great to assume, but I'm assuming that I'm going to still like it over the GT once I ride the GT.
You'll probably think
we'll
the GT has too much. and
I think I'm not going to like it.
Yeah. Now, you don't own a Pint X, so is that like on your Christmas list?
That's what I just said.
I
Yep.
missed that
I
part.
just said it's on my future wish list, like
Oh,
my
future.
long term. Yeah, I would love to have one.
So if we were all good friends, we'd pull together our resources and get you the Pint X. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that I'm gonna be excited however it comes my way.
Okay, and
So-
Kayla Lily is correcting us, not Washington, but it starts with the W, Lily.
Did you ever live
West
there?
Virginia.
Well, I know she's got family out there, so.
I couldn't even tell you if you were I had no idea where she moved from. I was gonna say Minnesota, so I was way off.
Way off.
Way off. I gotta say good morning to heaps of people here as we're waiting for more questions to come in. It's good to see Tim Bailey in the chat. I love seeing your name
Hey,
pop in there.
Tim.
Michaela's in there, which she's like saying hi, Dad, which
That's her dad.
That's her dad. I'm connecting the dots for you because she
Love
just says
it.
random hi, Dad. We have Kayla Lily in there, obviously. We have Lily and myself. We got Dan from Florida. I'm sure he's one. We got Joey in there. So good to see Joey's name
It's
pop
good to
in
see
there.
everyone.
Michael Ryan in there. Yeah, Mary Mendenhall. We got Jennifer Woodham,
Mary
Teresa
McClendon.
Mendenhall Johnson. I'm sure I missed a few other people, but it's cool to see all those names pop in there. If you are watching somewhere, you can jump into the chat. We're going to throw it to another video. And the reason we use these videos is that, one, it gives us a chance to warm up as it's 5 degrees here. And you probably, if you're watching, I can't tell. I can see my breath as I'm talking. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah, they can see it. Are you?
I mean,
should we
I
show
hope
it?
they can because
They can
we
totally see
we're in a place where
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just saw it from you. I just saw
Okay.
it.
it's so are you trying to see the
Yeah.
It's just a place that we can't run the heat because it's like this jet engine and it's so loud.
Working on it.
Well, we'll figure
Kinda.
it out. We have hopes.
Yeah.
Hopes to
Future
figure it out.
future
So-
dream list.
But we do this every Sunday because we love hanging out with you guys. All those are in the chat. Those that watch through the week, you might not be watching on Sunday. Man, we love doing this with you. So thank you for hanging with us. It is the Christmas season. Lily, is the Pint X on your list, but you're like, that's too much of a thing on the list, so that's why you're saying it? Like, would that be your, like, if you got a Pint X, would you be blown away?
I'd be blown away. Yeah, it's not on my list by any means, and I would be blown away. That would be so fun. That'd be so fun.
What would be your like this on my list? I hope I get this on my list. What is that?
Like my current list, I don't really have a list.
What? Then how?
But like my dream, like
No, your Christmas
audacious. My parents ask me what I want. I give them something very specific, and it's typically just one thing, and it's kind of boring. That's what they get. And now sometimes they've gone rogue and like done something creative, but it's just, I don't know. I guess that's how things have turned out.
Oh,
I don't think that's abnormal though. I think
No, I think as you get older, moms
Yeah.
and dads get tired of now I got to take all this crap back or whatever it is. So they just want to know what's the thing you want. So I'm getting you what you want. And so that's probably where that comes from.
yeah.
But you don't really have a list. Okay, then what? You don't have like if Holly and I are looking for like an idea for you, what would be a Christmas gift idea?
New coffee to try? That'd be great.
That's kind of boring.
No, it's not.
You can get that yourself.
There's so much new coffee on the shelves at like Target right now, and I was like in a dream.
I think
So-
that it. I was surprised you didn't say something like a new winter helmet to ride around in.
Would love that.
New snowboarding goggles so that your eyelashes don't freeze together.
Yeah, I don't wear my snowboarding goggles that much in our videos because they're not. You can see my eyes, and I just think the lenses are weird. So that'd be a good one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm glad we
I just
could-
don't need.
I'm glad I could put your list together. Actually, those are top two on my list.
Yeah,
New
they are.
helmet
I knew that.
in goggles. I'm a fan of those things. Okay, Joey's got a question. We're going to answer Joey's question after this video. If you have any other questions, this is a great time to throw them in the chat over there, and we'll nail them after this. We are going to give you 4 ways to begin to reconcile broken relationships, put them together. We're going to share some thoughts that are not my original ideas, but from books of psychologists, counselors, and other teachers, and some of my thoughts, and we're going to share those to help you round out the Christmas season. We're really, really excited that you're with us today. This video really puts into perspective what this time of year is about and why we celebrate it and things of that nature. So we hope you enjoy this, and we'll be right back. hopefully a little warmer than we were right now, or we are right now. Here you go. Enjoy.
I wonder what it would be like to be born in a manger.
Yeah. Wonder whatever happened to baby Jesus.
He grew up.
What? Wait. So you're saying that the baby Jesus Christmas story is the same as the adult walk on water Jesus?
Yeah. Thanks, honey.
Wow, I just never really put the two concepts together. Wonder what happened to that guy, huh?
He went to the cross.
That's the same guy?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is baby Jesus is the same as cross Jesus?
Yeah. I mean, there's some time in there, right? I mean, he grew up, he taught people, he lived a perfect life. He died on the cross and came back to life, and, now he lives in our hearts.
That's the same guy? The Jesus that lives in our hearts? Okay, I was really... Oh, wow. Okay, I never really put all those guys together, you know?
Only one guy.
I tell you this, here's an idea. Maybe we stop just making Christmas all just this once-a-year isolated thing, but we make it an ongoing story about the salvation in our hearts and lives. Up top.
That's the idea.
Is this the same?
That just makes me smile when I watch that, because I've had real conversations where people have asked genuine questions like that. Is it the same person that we celebrate at Christmas and at Easter and WWJD, all those different things? I mean, it's been funny to hear what people that have never been around a follower of Jesus or have gone to church, what they think WWJD. I've heard when I was growing up, it was watch when Jordan dunks.
Love that.
That's what people I've also heard where it was whiskey, Jack Daniels. Yeah, they go down the list. I can't remember all of it.
I've never heard those.
You haven't?
No, I think I've heard watch with Jordan dunks or whatever, but no, I hadn't heard the other one.
I have. I mean,
But, yeah.
I've heard other ones, but the idea is that video is to just remind us it's all the same, connected. I mean, think about Talladega Night. Remember that old
yeah.
movie? Where
Sweet baby Jesus.
The main character was like, I
Yes.
pray to baby Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah. Funny, but not real. Okay, so we have one last question. We must really do a good job, Lily, of answering all questions.
Yeah, and that might be, but also I think we'll do this again. And yes, I'm sitting on my hands because my hands are cold. I think we'll do this another time and just provide that opportunity because it's fun to do question and answer.
It is. I like that where Kayla Lily puts in there in the chat that her parents are getting her a Pint X.
Oh, that's so exciting, Kayla.
That's pretty awesome. So, are your parents looking to adopt a couple people?
Do they want to get a couple more?
Yeah,
and send them our way?
No, they gotta adopt us first, and then just seeing if it's a possibility. We'll fill out a contract, the whole deal. Whenever it takes place.
A contract.
Joey asks, and we'll give some context to it. And as Lily sits on her hands, I'm folding my feet, trying to get my feet warm because my toes are frozen.
Yeah, the cost of the green and red Vans. I mean, it's a great idea.
Might lose my toes for it. You're all
Might
worth
lose
it. Okay, so Joey asks, how do I overcome, or how does somebody have or be fearless? I'm kind of making it my own. How do you have lack of fear like Scott? I think that's something how he wrote it. Lil, is that what it was?
Yeah, I think he's looking at you, Scott, like you've got this courage that he lacks or desires to have, and so it's like, how do I overcome fear like Scott does? So how do you do it? It's really directed toward you, so I'm excited to hear your answer.
I don't ever think about it really. That's the thing. So like there are some shots that you see in different videos that we do where I'm I think the best one we have, and we said it a couple weeks ago, is where I went on the edge of a cliff that we were pretty high up, and there, like, if you fell, it was either death or you wish you would have died, because it was so, it was rocky. There wasn't a lot of water. Nonetheless, it was in our last year Christmas Day special, and Joey was freaking out. He was holding on to a tree, wouldn't let go of it, and I just walked out there. And the funny thing was, we had to do it 2 days in a row because we lost all the footage. So I come in and go back out, no problems. Joey does the same thing, just terrified. So I think that's where his question comes from. But Lily, to be truthful to you, I never think about those things. The things that actually scare me are usually not physical things. It's things in my mind. And so it's a bit misleading to think, oh, Scott's fearless. It's like, I'm fearless with my body. And more, I don't know if that, I'm not really answering it. But so how do you do it? I think you train your mind to go, I'm not afraid. I think fear, this is the best way I think of it. Fear to me is usually not real. Usually, at present day moment, we're not usually in danger.
Yeah.
And so the fear, we're telling ourselves a story that might never come true. And I try to stop telling myself that version of the story, because it's like I'm wasting all this energy on something that might never happen. I'd rather create my outcome. I don't know.
Yeah. Michaela put in the chat, Joey said, I wasn't freaking out. Joey, hey, you went out there with Scott. I stayed back. I didn't even go near the edge of that cliff. So
I like that Joey's over there. He's bantering. He's like, I wish it was on the microphone today. Joey, you were holding onto a tree and holding the camera like this, I would say. No, I'm just messing with you, man. I'm messing with you. You better get a treaded tire on, Joey, before the new year. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to come back and we're going to give you 4 ways to mend, reconcile broken relationships. We're pretty stoked about this topic, unless there's other questions, but there's not. I like how Tim Bailey comes in and says that Peg said, put a space heater at on your Christmas list.
Yes.
Oh.
It's, well, when it comes to Christmas gifts, I don't really like getting things that are like needs rather than
Practical.
like just like want, practical. But I need a space heater. I moved to a new place this year, and so I'm learning all types of things about living in just a new place, and my room does not heat up. So I'm gonna get a space heater, and Peg Bailey, I will think of you.
Yeah. I'm with like my Christmas list. It's on a list of just needs. I don't think I'm a non-practical gift giver.
Yeah.
So if like Holly, if she was like, I want new pots and pans or a can opener, I'd be like, just go get those.
A candle?
No, a can opener.
Okay, I was gonna say like a candle is definitely not a need.
Okay, so and here's where it comes from. Our very first year married,
Okay.
Valentine's Day.
Okay.
I got all practical things, and
Why?
I just hated it.
Especially on Valentine's Day. Why?
Because we were brand new married and we didn't have stuff like pots and pans, and Holly's trying to cook stuff. And she couldn't cook.
Yeah, she couldn't cook. She probably just put the food right on the burner. That was a hot mess, huh? Hot mess.
No, it was just microwavable things. And so she really
was
wanted
joking.
she wanted these things. So I went out and got this really cool can opener that both of us couldn't really figure out how to use. So I got her a can opener and pots and pans for that Valentine's Day, and I made it a big experience. And those pot and pans we still have. You're cooking on them today,
Okay.
so it still goes. But it's like it just felt so like hey.
Yeah, it's
pots
not
and
that special.
pans. No, so that was the last time I've ever done it. Holly constantly puts things on there. She's a woman of practicality. She wants to always get every child of ours their underwear and socks on Christmas, and I'm like. It's like up there on the worst Christmas gift.
Yeah.
You don't
Well,
even know.
I like new socks. So
Yeah,
underwear,
okay.
no one needs to be buying me that.
White socks, though. Stance socks, awesome.
Yeah, I like
if it's
Stan.
those stance socks,
Yeah,
I
cool
think that's
socks.
wonderful. But that's if my children
Okay,
are
we
watching.
do have another question that I feel like I
Please.
want to answer.
Okay, what's the question?
Dan asks if you could do another multi-day challenge race anywhere in the country, where would you want to go?
I mean,
I don't want to spoil anything.
no, but here's the deal. I'd like to go. I'd like to go somewhere. We haven't done the tropics in any of our videos
No,
yet.
he said in the country.
Yeah, there's tropics in our country.
Oh, okay.
Are you kidding
Like,
me?
what are you talking about?
What?
What tropics are you talking about? Like the Gulf Coast?
No, Like, Florida has definitely got tropics.
That's the Gulf Coast. The Gulf Coast is there.
Yeah, but so is Miami. I mean, any
The
place,
tropics. Okay, I'm down.
right? What do you think the tropics are, Lil?
I was thinking like a tropical rainforest when you say tropics. I was thinking like,
I could see
let's
that.
go over to Costa Rica and go to the. Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
Do
that
we have
would.
any
but-
one-wheel friends there? So
Can somebody help
Yeah.
us? Are like when I say tropical, would you consider like Florida areas on the coast tropical?
okay, how about Hawaii?
Yeah, that's great. I would do Hawaii.
That's tropical. I would love to do a tour of Hawaii on our one wheels.
But
So that's my answer.
I would. So that's on my list. And then somebody honestly put it in. Mary McClendon put it in the chat. I would love to go do a race in Alaska.
Yeah.
That would be so.
Alaska would be
Oh
amazing.
my goodness! Think about paddleboarding. Like I say this now, and it could be a moment of contention, of fear, and I want to. But paddleboarding with like a few killer whales next to you. Yes, please.
I would like to go this time of year so I could see the Aurora Borealis. And I just saw pictures yesterday of it this year, like this time of year. It looks unreal. And they went to the North Pole. We should do all of that for a Christmas special. That'd be amazing.
Yes. Okay, so I would really like to go somewhere warm, where like this tropical that has the palm trees, just ocean. I've never paddleboarded in the ocean, so I think that'd be great.
That'd be fun.
Maybe we'll do it at Easter.
Ooh.
It would be awesome. We do have a really cool Easter idea for our epicness
Yes,
video. So
we do.
then what it was, I think. Oh, you were talking about these lights.
The Aurora Borealis?
Yeah. They were exposed. They were shown off like a couple weeks ago, like 4 a.m. just out my window.
That's amazing.
So you don't have to go too far.
Wow. Next
Like-
time, let me know.
It was all in the news. read some apps.
No, but it would have been after the fact that I would have read about it.
No, I learned about it because it said tonight they'll be here.
Did
okay.
you Did you look at it? Did you look at it?
No, I saw pictures that my neighbors
Because
took.
you didn't want to wake up at 4 a.m.
Yep, that's true.
I don't blame you.
Okay, so another favorite pizza. Chicago style deep dish pizza, where when you get pepperoni or sausage pizza, it's a slab of pepperoni or a slab of sausage all the way across it. So every bite has pepperoni. So good.
That sounds delicious.
Chicago style pizza. Lil, you?
New York style, all day, every day. I want a flappy, gotta fold it, greasy. Just take me to Jay's Pizza in New York City. I'll be happy.
I like that kind of pizza too. But that would not be my go-to. Okay, we're gonna throw it to a video. We're gonna come back and we're going to wrap up a thought on how to reconcile broken relationships. Looking at our set list here on Friday, we did, and it's on this channel. If you did not experience the Christmas experience that's on our channel, they should, right, Lily?
Oh, yes.
Why?
It was fantastic. We got a hold of some amazing stories from people who were there that day when Jesus was born, and we heard their perspectives. And so we take you on a journey of hearing from them. And so you can go on this channel. It's on this playlist, actually, and it's called The Christmas Experience. You can't miss it. We have been encouraging people to spend about 10 minutes a day watching each part and using it as a devotional. So we encourage that. But there's one story we did not play on Friday that we wanted to save for today.
Yeah, we're really stoked on it. It's like perspectives of most unlikely people in the Christmas story. I think, did you allude to that, Lily?
Yes.
And so it's just painting this fullness to it. And what we're going to do this afternoon is we're going to go in there and put timestamps. So if you wanted to spend Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and use them as your morning devotions, this would be a perfect way to do it.
Yep.
And so Lily and I are going to figure that out this afternoon. And we're really stoked on it. But a question did come in. It's a big question. Serious question. How do you know if an opportunity is a calling from the Lord? Like, is every open door something you should go through?
It's a good one.
That's a colossal question.
Colossal.
So we'll let Lily answer it. Let's see how she does. What would you say, Lil?
How do you know if an opportunity is a calling from God? It's a big question. We often talk here about having the main thing that you feel like God has called you to, your main thing, right? And so everything around it should feed into that, should somehow play a part in that. And yes, we can justify things playing in, but truly, does it play into what you feel God has asked you to do with your whole life? And I think that people in your life, in your community, if they don't see it as an opportunity or if they're kind of leery on it, I think that's something to take into account, because those people are your community, they're your accountability, they are the people who see you point blank and know you and what you want, what that main thing is, and will probably, hopefully, tell you, hey, this doesn't seem to line up. So I definitely would encourage you to ask those people in your life, like, hey, do you see this for me? And then, of course, like, ultimately, God is the one who's going to say that. So definitely spend time in prayer and asking him to give you peace. Peace is always, God is not a God of chaos. So go where the peace is. And if you're unsure, time is your best friend. So don't rush. I said a lot there. I don't know. Is there anything I didn't cover? Probably.
I got a best way to illustrate it is a story, I think, a personal experience of mine. And I think when you have an opportunity, whatever that might be, buying a new car, a house, dating someone, play out the scenario past the first weeks. Ask yourself, is this an individual I could see myself spending my entire life with and have more great times with them than fights? Is this an opportunity that's going to further the passions that I'm passionate about already? Or is this a 180-degree turn away from what I've been pursuing at this point? And maybe at that point in your life, you were feeling that you needed a 180-degree turn, but maybe you were not feeling that, and it's like, boy, that's totally the wrong direction. I remember as a youth pastor, I mean, I've always wanted to be a pastor. I'm doing my dream from a seventh grader. I wanted to be a pastor. And as pursuing that, other opportunities came along. I developed skills that other places wanted that were not in churches. Holly and I got married. We were youth pastors at a church just outside Chicago, Illinois. And we had resigned there. Just felt like the season was over there. And I put my resume online. It was like the new way of applying for jobs at that point. I know for you, Lily, it's like,
yeah,
this is what you do.
I mean, yeah, that's normal.
But I just threw it out there online, just different places, and an ad agency picked it up because they saw the videos that I was creating at the time. And they interviewed us, Holly and I, and they wanted us to move to New York City. They offered us a signing bonus of we got to customize our own BMW.
Ooh.
Like, that was a lot of fun to
Yeah.
Like, I went down the rabbit trail so fast. I was like, what? My own BMW, an apartment in New York, and as a just married couple with no kids, right? Like, that's attractive.
Yeah, it sounds
like
fun.
New York life. It just was woo. And so I remember going, is this God giving me an opportunity? I could go and be a light in the darkness, all these different things. But I remembered, I went back to what God had spoke to me. No, I want you to be a pastor, be in the ministry as a pastor, not just a volunteer. And I just came back to it going, no, my ability to create video or content will be a way to reach people, to point them to Jesus, not to make resources for myself or a job. It's a team. It's a partnership to my job as a pastor. And you are living it out today. You're experiencing as you're watching our content, our videos, and this is all in our hopes to connect people, to reconcile people back to God. So there was an opportunity. I didn't feel like it was a temptation, because it would have been still today.
Yeah.
Like, here's the truth. I would have been making more money at that point than I am today.
Oh, yeah.
Back then, as a person with what they offered. And it was so tempting. And some days, I'm like, boy, it'd be real nice. But you're also living in New York City and all those things. And that was pre 9/11 and all those
We're
different
glad
things.
to have you.
I hope that answers your question with my story. And there's a lot of verses we can pull out, but we are not prepared with the verses. And I don't want to say the Bible says. I want to give people these are the facts. Okay, we're moving on to the topic of the day after the shepherd's wife's perspective, and maybe this will intrigue you enough to go back and watch the Christmas experience in after this or tomorrow morning. Let's check this out. You're going to love it. You're not going to be disappointed. Hit the video. Let's roll the footage.
He and I have a rhythm and a routine here in our humble home, and that morning he was messing it up. See, he comes in at 7:12 every morning on the nose. I hear his boots hit the floor. I make the coffee. He washes the pasture off of him, and we take our toast to the patio. That's our thing. He's a quiet man, likes the one-word answers, that one. And then he's off to bed. He keeps the herd at night. Oh, how my parents looked at me when I told them that I'd fallen in love with a shepherd boy. But that's a story for another time. Or never. But that morning, there were no boots, only quiet. Quiet like my husband. And before I could get to the front door, it slammed. It was loud. It was different. As if the front door knew something I didn't know. My husband yells for me. He yells for me. Maybe he's hurt. Maybe he's lost the herd. He's out of breath. He's saying my name as he takes my face in his big hands. His eyes, they're full of fear. No, awe. Tears are running down his face, and he can't stop talking, ranting about this bright light that fell out of the sky and angels. Yes, that is what I said, angels, hundreds of them all over the field proclaiming good news. But what did he mean, good news? Now I know my husband, the shepherd, he will never hold the scepter of a king, never sit with dignitaries to solve the world's problems, never even be invited to a meal where he has to wear a suit. But he was given the greatest edict in all the land, all the world, actually, called to the front lines by God himself to proclaim this good news. Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy that will be for all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior who is Christ the Lord. And this will be a sign unto you that you will find the baby wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger. I can say it in my sleep now. I can see it sometimes too. Glory to God in the highest, and on earth, peace among those with whom he is pleased. God was pleased with my husband, the shepherd. His boots hit the floor a little later on these days, and that's okay, because he is telling anyone who will listen the good news.
Lily loves that one because of the coffee and the message. It could be because of the message first or the coffee. It just depends, I suppose.
I put coffee first in the chat, so let's just call it what it is.
Okay.
No,
wait.
second part of my favorite. I've watched those videos like a lot of times. Second part of when she recites what the shepherd says to her and she closes her eyes. Like she's just like going back to that moment. Like so powerful.
I love the cinematography in it where they spin. And somebody's obviously holding onto the lights and let him go at the same time, so they're moving behind her.
Yeah,
I think all of that is quite.
You're like, oh, I didn't catch either of those things.
Well.
Go back and watch it.
And the message is so spectacular. So are the other characters that we have in the Christmas experience. So go see that. And really, we use this to set up the topic of the day: reconciling broken relationships. Why do we want to do that? Why should we do that? One, no one loves to be in a broken relationship, either caused by you or someone else. It's just a hot mess. It's not enjoyable. It's on your mind a lot of times. Most broken relationships, if you're aware that they're broken by someone or by you, I would think inside 24 hours, you are reminded, you think of it, it weighs on you. Broken relationships can change your inside emotions, which then when inside emotions and thoughts and worries and anxiety all are rampant, it actually leaks out on the outside, and it steals your face.
Yeah.
I remember reading a leadership book, and it talked about own your face, Lily. When I've said that before in the office to someone or in a leadership meeting, own your face, what am I saying?
Like, own your face, like the facial expressions you have when you're listening to someone, when you're reacting to something, or even when you see something like from afar and you have a face like what, like of judgment. Own it.
Yeah, like know that what you're doing. Like if Lily's talking and I'm just sitting over here, like, right? It's like I'm communicating with my face. I'm not into what she's saying, and so I want to always own my face. I want to make sure that I'm not saying something that I'm not actually feeling. So own my face, especially when you're around other people. When you're, hopefully you understand what we're trying to say. Own your face. Mm-hmm. If you work in a corporate environment, when you're in a meeting, own your face. Know that your face is saying something. And it could be you're totally off topic. You're thinking about the moldy cheese you ate at lunch. You're like, oh, I should not have done that. But your boss just said, hey, this is the new way we're doing it. And your face says, this is that we should not do that. It just creates a problem. So own your face. And if that's all you take out of today, you're like, I
needed to hear that. So
and so I always am reminded of that. And the Christmas story is all about God's reconciliation of humanity back to him. There was a problem between us and God. There was a separation, a gap, an issue. And God was like, I need to fix that. And that solution was to send Jesus as a baby in Mary's womb to be born to a woman. We've talked about this. Go back and watch the last couple of weeks. He's born, and that begins the solution to forgiveness, then to reconciliation of our relationships. And because of the Christmas story, we know that we need to reconcile with one another. If there's an issue, and we've talked about it, like some of this will be review for you, but catching some of you to speed. Reconciliation of broken relationships is not natural. You don't naturally go to it. It's not the default. We don't know how to do it. It is a learned skill. It is a taught skill. But those that are teaching the skill don't usually know how to actually do it, so we're teaching the incorrect, and generation after generation don't know how to reconcile relationships. And mom and dad, whatever your age is, especially if you have little ones, or if you plan to be a mom or dad in the future, you need to learn how to reconcile relationships so that you might teach your children, because it's just the likelihood of there being a broken relationship between you and your child, not being negative, it's just probable. It's humans. And so if we don't teach them how to reconcile those things, they will not know how to reconcile with you. And most of the time, just saying sorry isn't reconciling a relationship. That's just something we teach our kids. Say you're sorry, and then they just say sorry, and there's no tone change, and it feels like they want to punch their sibling versus like, I am genuinely humbled at the moment. I wronged you. I, the pronoun, I am. It's the ownership of what I just did. Sorry for blank, whatever I just did. What can I do to make it up to you? That is the full statement of reconciling a broken relationship. I am sorry for whatever I did. Don't ever say for whatever I did. Own it. And then the other side, what can I do to make it up to you? And it's so much fun to watch my kids say these things. They've had to say it to Lily before. They've had to say it to each other. And it's interesting to hear people's reaction. The other day, one of my kids said something to an adult, and I had them do this. Hey, I'm sorry for being disrespectful to you. What can I do to make it up to you? And their response was, it's okay. Like that was the adult in the equation, right? Lil, you were there for it, right?
I was the person.
No, you weren't the. Oh,
I was the adult.
There's been multiple adults then. You were not who I was thinking of.
Oh.
Okay, so when you did it, what happened? What did I then say?
You said it's not okay.
Why is it not like for us just to say back to the other person? Why is it not just okay to just say it's okay?
Because when you say it's okay, you're saying that the behavior was okay.
Right.
But it was justified.
And so what would be the response of the person that is hearing that for the first time of, I'm sorry, what can I do to make it up to you? How should we respond to that? Like, give me $5?
Well, I definitely think we should say I forgive you. so that the forgiveness is there and it can be reconciled in the moment. And then what can I do to make it up to you? I think that's always hard because you don't want to be expectant of like, give me $5 or just whatever. Here's your debt that you owe to me. But I think the ultimate thing is like, you don't want it to happen again, you know? So I don't know if you say it never can happen again, but obviously that's the hopes, is that it doesn't happen again.
I think an adult conversation is different with kids, so that's probably. But if it was you and I, and you said, Scott, what can I do to make it up to you? I would probably, depending what the offense was, right? You have an adult conversation in that. Well, it really hurts when you don't own your face, Lily, and you roll your eyes at me when I say this. So could you maybe not roll your eyes, right? It's an adult conversation that you have in explaining how we got to the broken relationship. And it's not just, oh, don't ever do that again, because it's very vague of don't do what ever again. Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
so we want to make sure you know this, that there are our goal in reconciliation of adult relationships can't be reconciling the relationship. Our relationship goal in adult relationships can't be about reconciliation, because we don't control all the pieces. We don't own all the pieces. And so then what happens when our goal is to reconcile this thing, to get back to the right standing with that individual and be buddies again, we default to what we keep calling the C4 approach. Lily, can you list the C4 that we naturally, every human being defaults to?
I can list them, and we've also got them on the screen for you if we want to put them up. It is coerce, convince, control, and convict. Those are the 4 C's we go to when we are trying to manipulate our way into right standing with someone.
Okay, those are the defaults. Like, you want to argue about it, like we've been calling it out all for the last several weeks when we're around people. Oh man, I am like, now we're starting to own it. We were early on going, Lily, you are trying to convince me right now, like we would call out the other individual. Now we're going,
oh, I'm trying to
control you. I'm trying, like, we're owning it now. It's like fun to watch the journey, or I'm trying to coerce you. And so those are our defaults. We're trying to reprogram how we do it, and it starts with 4 questions you need to ask yourself. Or statements, okay? 4 decisions, let's say. Reconciling starts with 4 proactive decisions. These are the 4 decisions. I'm going to give you a couple that we've already given, and then we'll give you the last 2. So these 4 pave the way to potential reconciliation. It doesn't get you back there. Our goal in reconciliation of a relationship is to do it with no regret. And these 4 proactive decisions will help you look back and go, oh man, I did what I could. I positioned myself. I've moved in their direction, all those different things. Because let's be honest, and if you watch Christmas movies, like, it's always those tragic events that remind you, oh crap, I never tried to reconcile. I wish I would have done more. I wish I would have, whatever it is. You don't need a funeral to do that. You want to be doing all relationships with no regret. So the first one we said was, I will get back to, not get back at. That's the first decision. I will get back to, not get back at. One of the best things we can do as parents is teach this. We already said that, but here we go. Here's where this comes from. John 3:16, you all know. Lily, can you quote it? I'm sure we have it wrote down somewhere, but John 3:16, it is the most famous verse out of the Bible. Do you know what it says, Lily?
I do.
Let's hear it.
I'm like kind of blanking though. I'm like getting it mixed up with Mark 10:45. God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son. I was so blanking with, for the Son of Man came to serve, not be served. I don't know why.
Wait, okay.
Hey.
So here it is. You're seeing it on your
Yeah,
screen.
you're seeing it.
So for God
it
so loved the
happens.
world that he gave his one and only son, for whoever believes might have everlasting life. You just saw it there. That verse is quoted, and I'm with Lily. When I try to do it, especially in the teaching without seeing it, I get like, oh
on the
crap, this is the
spot.
most famous scripture.
Yeah.
I'm going to botch this, and
It's
then
like
I botch it.
I could all of a sudden like recite Numbers 34:17, and it's like no one knows what it is, but I can't recite John 3:16.
I understand the issue. So it's on the. You got to see it on the screen. But it's the next verse that really complements this. I will get back to, not get back at. In John 3:17, like, just read a couple of verses later, and here it is.
Yes.
For God did not send his son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. That's the reconciliation of humans back to God portion of it, right? It's both pieces. It's John 3:16 and 17. It's like the complete package. So for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes him shall not perish but have eternal life. John 3:17. For God did not send his son into the world to condemn it, to not point a finger and shame.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what we do, we default to the condemnation to the world, but to save through him. It is through Jesus that connects us back to God. Any other way is not the way back into relationship with God. And there's been so many people and so many different religions that have come up with different ways they think to get back to God. Some involves inflicting pain on themselves or other people. Some have come up with, well, if you say this thing, it will. It's like, man, no, it's a belief system in Jesus puts you back in your right standing with God. And in that belief brings actions out, which then I follow Jesus in what he is asking me to do. We need to take this portion of John 3:17 and apply it into our relationships, that we don't hold the wrongs against the people that have wronged us, that we don't see them through the wrong or condemn them, but we're looking to say, like, reconcile the relationship. We're moving our way. I wrote in my notes, God made a way to reconcile relationships even though we resist it the whole time. Up until you are reconciled to God, we resist God. You might not know you're resisting, but in the decisions we make, the actions we have, the things we choose to watch, listen to, do, all these things, we are resisting. We're stiff-arming God until our heart is softened and we are open to the idea that there is God and Jesus is reconciling us back to God. That's when we stop this resistance. But God made a way even though we are still resistant. Like 2 Corinthians 5:18, Lily says this, all of this from God who reconciles us to himself through Christ gave us the ministry of reconciliation. And so here's this. This is Paul writing to a group of people that meet in an Olympic city where they train for the Olympics all the time. He's writing to them and he says, listen here. Pay attention. That what we saw God do through Jesus for humans, we are to do the same. All this is from God who reconciled us to him through Christ. So he's saying he reconciled us first. We didn't do anything first. We didn't move in the direction first. God moved in our direction. Jesus moved in our direction. We were the offenders, and God and Jesus are the offended. Yet they made the first move and gave us this ministry of reconciliation. You know, sometimes when you translate words, like, Lily, you know a little bit of Spanish, right? So
I know a little bit.
English words don't always translate to Spanish, right? Like sometimes you have to say, can you think, I'm putting you on the spot again. Can you think of an example of that? Like in Spanish, or in English, we say one word, but in Spanish, we have to say like 3 words to say the same thing. I'll give you a second what she thinks on that.
Yeah, give me a second.
When I have traveled to a lot of Spanish-speaking countries, I've been to Ecuador a couple times. I've been to Peru several times in the Amazon jungle, and I would always have a translator, and I would say something that is very short. The translator then would speak forever, and I'm just like in my mind, like, is this dude like making fun of me? Like, I didn't think I said something as funny as that. They're laughing to what the translator is saying, but it's because not all the words that I say match exactly in Spanish. Lily, did I give you enough time to think of something? No?
I'm sorry.
Your mom.
I can't. I know.
Your Puerto Rican family
My Puerto Rican
are
family
just
would be ashamed.
devastated right now. Man.
I am thinking about the relationships I want to reconcile and work through. So thinking of Spanish is not on my radar.
And you're also thinking about how cold your hands are, I'm sure.
That it's there somewhere.
Okay, so the original Greek word was assignment. So where we use the word ministry, which that's a churchy word, right?
Yeah.
You read that, you're like, oh, ministry, that's what pastors do and all these kind of things. But really, God, Christ, and gave us the assignment of reconciliation. That when we enter into the relationship with God through Jesus, now we have been given the assignment of reconciliating other people.
Yeah.
Like that's our assignment now. Like now go and make correct all of your relationships. That's why we got to make the decision of I will get back to, not get back at. It's all through Scripture. Paul continues in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 19. continues that God was reconciling the world to himself in Christ, not counting people's sins against him. Again, that's John 3:16 broke down again, or 17, sorry. And he has committed to us the message of reconciliation. It's just making sure that like he's committed that we are to spread the good news about Jesus in this reconciliation of humanity to God. That's why it's such a big deal at Christmas, because that's the message. But we're now to share it with people. And actually, here's the shocker. Do it. Like, reconcile relationships. If you call yourself a follower of Jesus, this is not an option. Oh, they really wronged me. It's not an option. Reconciliation is not multiple choice. It's just we do. We have got to get over ourselves and the pride that rises up going, no, that would be embarrassed for me to own my mistakes. But, hey, I wrote it like this. If I'm going to reconcile with you, I have to stop counting the wrongs that you have done against me. That's what Jesus did to us. He doesn't keep a record of wrong, nor are we supposed to do. I can't hold. Lily, you did this the other day. I don't remember the topic in the office. It was something about, we were doing something in the office. You're like, well, can you give me an example when I've done that? Right? And I was
yeah. Sometimes that's just easier to apply later on. And I don't think in this instance it was like a moral thing.
No.
I think it was like, which sometimes I've asked that because I'm like, I just need you to give me a checklist of what not to do, and I will give you perfection. That's like literally my whole personality in a nutshell. But I think, yeah, it's like for me, sometimes it's easier. Like even if it's just something practical, I'm like, can you give me a time when I did it so I like can consciously remember and not do it again? But in reality, it's like, you're right. Love keeps no record of wrongs, even when it's not really a wrong. It's just something that like, hey, let's not do that again, you know?
Yeah, it's not keeping a record when people mess up, or as I lead the organization of Unlocked Church, not keeping a record of, oh, you were late on this day, or you, like, it's just not keeping those, it's letting those go, because they'll just eat you up and will make a broken relationship for sure, because you're going to hold something against some people. You're going to have, well, let me pull out, and guess what? When you keep a record of wrong, you're tapping into the 4 C's, because now I'm going to try to convict you. I'm going to shame you for what you've done in the past to prove what you're doing in the present is part of your makeup, and that's not cool. We can't do that. And so reconciliation begins with us regardless of who initiated the fuss. Remember that a couple of weeks ago? And the second thing that proactive decision we need to make is I will own my slice of the blame pie. I will own my slice of the blame pie. Remember we brought in a pie a couple of weeks ago and we gave a story and you own it. Man, most of the time, the majority pieces of the blame pie go to the other person, not us. But the truth is, if we're really honest, it's usually 50-50, if not a little bit more on us. There's a part of the pie we own. And Jesus comes along to illustrate this. He says, take out the plank of wood in your eye before the splinter in the other person's eye. He's trying to move people in a direction. Listen, when you see the issues they've created. You got your own issues. You recognize a mess because you have a mess in your own life. Deal with your own thing. This is where we get the word hypocrite is in there. When you go back to the Greek, it's all in that entire story where Jesus is talking about. He's saying, don't be a hypocrite. Don't go to the other person and say, fix your stuff and we'll be reconciled. Jesus is trying to say, no. Own your piece of the blame pie. Romans chapter 12, verse 18. This is Paul writing to a group of people in Rome, and he's never visited this church. He's just trying to share Jesus' principles to them. And so Romans chapter 12, verse 18. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. I mean, that's what we're trying to say here is if it's possible, he's trying to say, listen, stop the fuss. Figure it out. And if it depends on you, live at peace. Like, it's on you. He's not trying to say blame it on somebody else. On you. If you keep messing with the fuss, it's on you. Stop. This is the statement, again, that maybe I'm going to remove the pie out of my eye before I point out the pie in your eye. That's what it is. Reassembly decision number 3 for you, okay? I will make the first move regardless of who moved away first. I will make the first move regardless of who moved away first. It's the blame game. Well, they did that to me. They said that they're the ones that have to come and apologize. They need to come and reconcile. I have not done anything. But again, we got to own our slice of the pie. Like here's the truth. Like example in my marriage is I was raised that the man is the leader of the home. Doesn't mean that he makes the most money. It just means he leads the house. He should lead the house. He is to pay attention to the temperature of the room, of the family, and to diffuse and to make sure we're going in a direction. That's how I was raised, so that's how I see everything. And a lot of times when there's conflict in the home or between Holly and I just take on this is my fault. I'm not being a very good leader right now. I'm being passive. I'm not being proactive. I'm not involved. I've been too busy. And then if I can't really find out any of those reasons and I'm like, it's still my fault, I go, man, I married her. So it's my fault. It's still my fault. And it allows me to own the piece of the pie and not blame anything on Holly. It's my ownership because of the way I see it. I am the leader of the home. I need to make sure spiritually we're going in a direction, that physically we're moving in a direction, that we're staying healthy, all of these things. It's on me. And Holly helps that. That doesn't mean Holly doesn't have, like somebody's going to take this way too far, I'm sure, Lily, right? Like,
yeah, but if they could be a fly on the wall to see it all, it's the way that it's done is just like so complimentary and such a rhythm that it just, you want to be around it because it's beautiful. And Holly's amazing.
She is.
Gets a lot done.
This is not some movement. Nonetheless, just we can have a conversation about it. If you're like, no, that's not how. But it just allows me to take the ownership of it and be involved and go, okay, I'm going to own my piece of the pie. And I, regardless of who moved away first, making up reasons why we are, the temperature of the house is where it is, or this and that, it allows me to jump in and go, I'm going to move to help fix it. I'm going to own the piece of pie of my own in it. And then, regardless of who made the mistake first, I'm going to move. And it's so easy. Wait, if you're married or been in a relationship with anyone, it's so easy. They yelled at me. They said that. I'm only doing what I'm doing because of them. And so it's on them to come to me to make the move. But we look at the reconciliation of the Christmas story. God did not wait for us to move. He made the move. Mm-hmm. And here's Jesus tells this story in Matthew chapter 5, verse 23, that we miss so much of the context because we don't do this. We read over and like, okay, I get it. Okay, go ask forgiveness. Make sure. But to a Jewish culture of this day, when he's saying it, shock and awe is happening everywhere. So I'm going to try to paint the picture as Jesus says this. Therefore, if you are offering a gift at the altar, okay, when this is taking place, this wasn't like every city had an altar or a temple. It was the temple was in a certain place, and you traveled once a year to this place to make a sacrifice at this time. And it was only a set amount of time. It wasn't like anytime you get there, you can do this gift offering. It was like this time of year, that's it. And they would move in that direction. That means you'd saddle up the horses and you'd ride on. You'd pack up your family and your donkeys and all the food for weeks and travel a great deal of distance to get to this point. So Jesus is saying, therefore, if you're offering a gift at the altar and there you remember, in there, when in line, you remember that your brother or sister has something against you. So you're standing in line and all of a sudden you're reminded of, oh man, that individual is really mad at me at work. I'm not mad at them. I have but I know that they're upset with me. I understand that there is a gap between the two of us. This is what Jesus says in Matthew chapter 5, verse 23 through 24. Leave your gift there in front of that altar. First, go and reconcile to them, and then come back and offer your gift.
That's a lot of work.
That's like you just traveled. Lil, you just traveled 7 days with all your makeup and your one wheel
and my lip stain.
Yeah, your lip stain. You traveled all the way.
I am not packing up to go back.
Yeah, that's the struggle.
I don't want to.
The Jewish audience is going, hold on, Jesus. Do you know what work it took us to get there? Now you're telling me to step out of line. Get out of line when it's that person's problem, not mine. I got no problem with it. Remember, he says, and you remember that they have something against you. Against me. I got nothing against them, but get out of line, leave it all, and go do it. And he goes, leave your gift at the front of the altar. First go and reconcile to them, and then come and offer the gift. And you're seeing a lot of the Jewish culture there. The Jewish people are going, hold on, 7 days away? By the time I do that, I can't do this, and it won't be for another year for me to be able to. But this is how, followers of Jesus, this is how you put God first, by doing this. But you're like, but hold on, by me not sacrificing the gift offering, or me not, like, that's like putting that person over God. No, God's like trying to tell you, no, when you are reconciling a relationship, this is you putting God first. It's like, I want my relationship with God good, so I'm going to reconcile this relationship this direction. It's just, I wrote in my notes, also, don't we often think to ourselves, can't I just forgive them in my mind and that'll be okay? Have you ever done that little, like,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
why do we do that?
Why do we do that? I think because it's like, especially if you've been hurt, and if you've been hurt, we've been there. We have been there. So I don't want it to seem like, here's all the steps. Good luck. Because if you've been hurt, going to them, I will get back to, not get back at. That's so hard. Physically, going to someone that's hurt you is really difficult emotionally. And I think that when we say, I forgive them in my heart, like, and I mean, I've even done it. Like, I was sure, like, I forgave them. But until I had a conversation and even was able to say that out loud is when I started to believe it. And I was freed from all the things I was holding against them and holding in my heart. And so I just think it's just not enough to say it in your head over and over again. It's just not enough.
It's not enough. It's not what we're supposed to do, but that's how we justify not carrying on the conversation with the individual is like, I'll just forgive him in my mind. Like, I got nothing against him. I forgive him. But Jesus say, no. There's a physical move towards him, a physical conversation you got to have with the individual. Forgiveness is not what it's just in the mind. And we said this weeks ago that forgiveness in reconciling relationship is removing the obstacle. It's not reconciling the relationship. It just removes the obstacle that's in between us and moves us in the direction. And so, no, it's not about I'm just going to forgive him in my head, and that's fine. Nope, there is a physical move. There is a physical thing we do. In the fourth, proactive, resembling broken relationships decision you need to make is, I will keep the door open and the welcome mat out. I will keep the door open and the welcome mat out. This is not a one and done thing. It's a daily thing. This is everyday choosing. I'm going to keep the door open for this individual to come into my life again, to move in my directions. I've moved as far as I can. This is where you get into the spot where I can't control them. They have to move, but if they don't move, this is where I'm going to do the relationship reconciliation with no regrets. I'm going to position myself where they know the welcome mat's out, that the door is open. It's not to say it's on them makes sound like I'm going to. I've done everything. It's on you now. Never say that. That's manipulation. That's to the 4 C's. See how easy it is to tap into those things. This is not one and done. It's a daily thing. I'm going to choose my attitude towards that individual to leave the welcome mat out and the door open. I love what when Jesus enters a conversation with his disciples, they're asking the question. Peter asks this in Matthew chapter 18, verse 21. Here's the conversation, and this is where it comes from. It's not a one and done deal here. It's a daily thing you're going to have to do to keep the welcome mat and the door open until really that relationship is really reconciled. Here it is. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? That seems reasonable, doesn't it, Lil? Like, he's answering his question, isn't he? You can come back to us there. Like, he's asking 7. Like, right? 7 seems like fair enough amount.
I know it's not random. I know 7 wasn't put there randomly. But to me, I'm like, that's such a random number. And also the fact that he says up to. Like, Peter's like, I only want to forgive them once, Jesus, but like up to 7, like at most 7.
Yeah, there's like a limit to me forgiving that individual. It's 7. But Jesus answers in the way that only Jesus can answer. I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. 77 times. Now, this is not an answer of like, if Lily came over and punched me in the face, and she's like, I'm sorry, I always stumbled over my green boots, and I actually punched you in the face. My hand was clenched like this. It was just all random. Okay, I get it. It was an accident. You're just a little clumsy today. And then she does it again, and she's like, I'm so sorry. You know what? Eventually, I'm not going to stand here or sit here and let her continue to do it. It's just, I'm not going to let her punch me in the face 77 times. I'm going to move. So it's not about the physical act of somebody really doing something against you, though that's included. It's really the amount of times I replay the scenario in my mind and get really angry at the individual, hurt all over again. I'm to forgive them again. And this is where, like, you might not even have had the conversation yet with this person. You have to re-forgive them. Or you have had the conversation, the relationship's reconciled, and you still have to move in the direction of forgiving them every time you feel every emotion all over again, that it really feels like it just happened, but it's been a decade, and you're that mad again. It's like, oh yeah, I forgave them. Jesus, help me continue to forgive that individual. Love holds no record of wrong, and every time I think about this, I'm doing what I'm not supposed to do. I'm holding a sin against them. I'm counting their wrongs against them, and love keeps no record of wrong. And so, you've gotten the 4 proactive decisions you need to make. I hope you wrote them down somewhere. We're going to put them up on the screen so you can either screenshot it really quick, or you can rewrite these down so that you have them, and maybe you need to apply them into the relationships as Christmas is coming right around the corner. In 6 days, 5 days we'll do during Christmas Eve, you're going to be around some family members that you need to reconcile. Maybe you need to do some of these things, making these conscious decisions so that you are moving in the direction of reconciling those relationships. So here's proactive decision number 1. I will get back to, not get back at. Number 2 is, as you see on your screen, I will own my slice of the blame pie. Number 3 is the following on your screen. I will make the first move regardless of who moved away first. And the final decision, proactive decision, is this. Number 4, I will keep the door open and the welcome mat out. And we end with, if we have not given you enough verses yet, if you have not been convinced that our job is to reconcile, especially as a follower of Jesus, man, if you're not a follower of Jesus, man, try this out. It will help your life be less complicated and less blame game. But a follower of Jesus, these are not maybe, perhaps I'll do. No, these are must-dos. These are Jesus teaches on these. These are the things that Paul tries to reteach to the churches all over. Here we go in 2 Corinthians 5:20. We implore you, on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. He's like, I'm putting pressure on you. Be reconciled with God. First and foremost, if you're not a follower of Jesus, reconcile your relationship to God, to Christ. That's, I accept that Jesus died on a cross and rose again. He was born to a virgin. Accept that. The next is believe that. Like, I accept that. I believe that. I accept the grace. I accept that I need a Savior in my life, saving of my sins. I believe that all that is true. And then confess the things that you've done wrong. God, I see the things that stand in between me. Forgive me of my sins, and begin to become a follower of Jesus, moving in the direction of God. Remember, God did all of this before you decided to do this. He loves you. He reached out to you and created the bridge back. Then when I implore you, Paul's saying, I implore you, I pressure you to, on Christ's behalf, to reconcile to God. He's then reminding us to go and do the same thing to all of those people. Extend the hand. Have a conversation. Reach out. As hard as it's going to be, as difficult those conversations will be, and you can't even put yourself, like, you don't understand what they did to me. I don't know the scenario. But I know you need to move in a direction, and I will put a little asterisk here. I don't know all of your relationships, but if it is in a physical, unsafe place, or they've hurt you physically or emotionally, like, they're just going to make sure you do this way somehow safe, that it's not putting yourself in a dangerous situation. But I also am going to say this. The percentage of relationships that are dangerous in that capacity are smaller than the amount of relationships that are not dangerous. So don't manipulate your story into it's really unsafe and all these things so you don't have to. You still got to move even if it's unsafe. There are measures you can take to reconcile those things. Okay. Let me pray. Jesus, I thank you for your life. I thank you for the Christmas story, the bridge back to God. May people tap into it. May we hear of great things that you're doing across the world because of your reconciliation of humanity back to you and then humans to humans this Christmas season. We thank you for these 4 proactive decisions we can make to help our way to a reconciling and to have guilt-free or no regret relationships. Jesus, may you protect people as they travel. Be with those that are sick right now, that you would restore their energy and their strength to be able to tackle the Christmas season. Jesus, we love you in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Lily, can you tell them how to give really quick?
Yes, thank you so much for hanging with us today. And I feel like I have so much to work on and work through. So super exciting. We give you a chance to give here at Unlock Church Online because it's an opportunity to be obedient to what God asks of us in his word. And so you can do that by going to unlockchurch.com/give. You can also text the word unlock to 77977. We love sitting out here, even in the brisk temperatures, bringing you messages like this that help your life be better and make you better at life. And so I just thank you for your generosity, and it allows us to extend this so far beyond what you and I can see. So thank you guys so much. This is fun.
Yeah, it is, Lily. So much fun to freeze out here with Steven and his ability to make us sound better than we really do.
Yes, Steven is on sound. Ryan,
thank you for doing the switching of the cameras today and making all the videos play. Like, you guys are amazing.
They're
Thanks
amazing.
for freezing with us.
Give them some claps in the chat.
You should give them a little bit of love as well. And thank you for everybody that watches and spreads the good news. We love all of you. Have a Merry Christmas. We'll have our Christmas Day special on my channel at 1 p.m. And we will have a quick devotion on Christmas Eve here on this channel as well. That'll just be us. Really, we're going to do something really fun. Lily and I are going to tag team reading the Christmas story.
It'll be fun.
It'll be pretty fun. And
now the question is, will we read it from Matthew or Luke?
I think we do a hybrid.
I was just going to say that. Okay, you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. It'll be fun.
Okay, guys, have a safe week out there. If you're local in Minnesota or you want to have an experience, man, we're going to be outside at Town Green in Maple Grove on Christmas Eve. It's going to be so special. It's going to be at a band shell. And here's the deal. Lily and I are all ready for the cold. Those that don't do this every week, they're going to freeze. But we are hardy Minnesotans, and we got this. Guys, have a fabulous rest of your Sunday, and we will see you on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Bye, guys.